Welcome to the Simply Luxurious Kitchen, inspired by travels to France, as well as to other delicious excursions around the globe. While going about my everyday life in Bend. Join me as I share seasonal fare to elevate the everyday meal. And most importantly, discover how to enjoy stepping into your kitchen. Let's get started. Welcome to my kitchen. I'm Shannon Abels, and this is the Simply Luxurious Kitchen. Today, we're going to talk about a meal that you can make in fewer than 30 minutes. Imagine it's the end of the work week and you're tired. Whether it was a great week or not so great work week, you are exhausted, but you want to eat something delicious. Well, that's what we're going to make today. We're going to make what I call Friday shrimp pasta, something I have been making for 10, 12 years, tweaking it as I go. And needless to say, it is simple, it is delicious, and it involves a white and it involves a lemon butter wine sauce, which is so simple to make and adds an abundance of flavor. So let's get started. First thing we're going to do is prep the shrimp. Now you can buy the shrimp already cleaned and deveined, which these are, and usually you do not want them already cooked, you want them raw. I usually get 16 to 20 size, so about medium size, and then all you have to do is simply get rid of the shells or the scales and pop off the tail. And I'm going to do this. I'm going to put the scales back in here and just put my shrimp in one bowl. Now, if they are not clean and prepared for you, you'll need to slit the back of this, pull out the vein, and then to detail it, take off the skins. Now, I do like to get rid of the tails because I don't want to have to take off the tails while I'm eating, but that's completely up to you. Now, you may be also wondering, well, what if they're frozen? Which, to be honest, that's usually what I have in my freezer. In fact, of all the things I usually always have on hand in my house, I usually have a bag of frozen shrimp, raw shrimp, in my freezer. And all you would have to do, and I did with these, is you stick them in a bowl like this, however many you want, and I have about a pound here, and you just put it under hot water, let it soak for maybe 5 minutes, and they're defrosted, easy to go. Use the water that you've been using to water your plants on the patio or the porch, which is something that I do. But it's really something that you can do easily with just having it in the freezer. So I'm going to take care of preparing these shrimp, and then we'll start adding some color and aromatics. Now, part of the reason I love this recipe so much is because I don't have to think about it. I mean, like I said, it's the end of the week. It's my Friday shrimp pasta. I don't want to have to think or pull out a recipe, think about the recipe. And those are the kind of, that's the kind of confidence you're going to build the more you step into the kitchen. Part of the reason I also like this recipe is that there are a lot of ways you can make it based on what you have in your kitchen. For example, I'm going to be using angel hair pasta, but say you don't have angel hair pasta, but you have linguini, or you have bite-sized pasta, bows, shells, something like that. It works just fine with those. So don't feel that you have to use exactly what I'm going to share with you today. I'm going to be giving you alternatives as we go throughout this recipe. All right, almost done here. One more in there, it's hiding. All right, I'll get rid of the shells. Clean my hands. Okay. Now we're going to have about a cup of grape, or could be cherry tomatoes, whatever you prefer, or have on hand. Maybe you don't have tomatoes on hand. These are fresh from the market or the produce stand. I picked them up yesterday, and they're full of bursts of flavor. When you heat them up in this sauce with the shrimp, oh, it just adds that little extra oof, that brightness to the recipe, as well as adds a lot of great color. So speaking of color, maybe you don't have grape or cherry tomatoes. Well, you do have some tomatoes sitting around, so you would then use those. Absolutely fine, absolutely fine. If you don't have tomatoes, that's fine. We're gonna add 2 different types of vegetables, and you'll find you're gonna use whatever you have in your kitchen. So those are ready to add. Now we have to prepare the aromatics. So I usually add 1 shallot. Okay. Okay, let's get rid of that. Now there are a bunch of things to have on hand at all times so that you can make whatever is available in that particular season or is available in your market where you are. One thing that I always have on hand, or what you see right there on that compote, I always have a bunch of aromatics. So right there in that stand, I have a Walla Walla sweet onion, I have some pearl onions, I have shallots, and I always have my garlic on hand, which we will add to this recipe. Okay, and just dice this up finely. It can be rough though, it does not have to be perfect. Again, we're adding the base of the sauce, the flavor of the sauce, adding the base of flavor here for this entire meal. Okay. Just make sure that all the big slices are chopped up. You will be enjoying these as well. Okay, get rid of it. And while I'm finishing up the garlic, I'm going to turn this pan to about I'm going to turn this pan to about medium, maybe medium low if you have a copper pan, because they do heat up quite quickly and retain that heat. I need about 2, 3 garlic cloves. Okay. Deskin those. Now, as I mentioned before, I picked up those tomatoes at the fresh produce stand, which is not open year-round here in Bend. So when it is, I get really excited because they bring in produce from from local farms around the area. But the thing about bringing in fresh produce is when it's available, fantastic. Obviously, we have to keep in mind our budget. Now, there are some items that I will absolutely spend money on at the market, and thankfully, some of them are fairly inexpensive. My eggs, for example, are always fairly cheaper at the market. Sometimes not, and I will go back to the grocery store and buy my eggs there. But not everything is going to be affordable or in someone's budget, including mine. And as much as I want to say shop local, shop in season, do what you can and do what's practical for you. The best thing to think about when you're making any meal is to bring in the primary ingredients that are of the best quality. For example, we don't grow lemons around here. Of course we don't grow lemons around here in Bend, Oregon, but I always have lemons on hand. I go to a store where I get good quality lemons at a great low price. I can't buy local for lemons, but I need them in my sauces. So just something to think about. Also, with regards to grocery shopping, it can be fun. I promise you, I thoroughly enjoy it, and I've written a post about that. So if you're curious as to how to make it more enjoyable, because I know it's a task that we have to do, be sure to check out that post. All right, so we're gonna cook the shrimp. The pasta water is heating up to boil. We're gonna add some salt, some coarse ground sea salt. Okay, add the garlic, and add the shallots. Loving that sizzle. And I do add the tomatoes now too, because this does not take that long to cook. Okay. Adding the shrimp right in. Whoop. Okay. Flavor them immediately with salt, freshly ground pepper, grinds there. Now make sure the shrimp are all evenly placed around that pan on their first side, getting nice and cooked and warmed up. Getting ready to turn pink. While it's doing that, I'm gonna get the rest of my sauce ready. So we're gonna put some wine, as I mentioned. We're gonna put some butter and lemon. So I'm gonna zest this lemon right into the shrimp. So zest 1 lemon. Okay, we're not done with that lemon yet, don't worry. I will use that in a minute. All right, so that is cooking nicely. Pasta water is warming up, and we have our wine. Some other things that I like to always have on hand, and I'll show you a picture of it here, is in my pantry I have 2 shelves. I don't have a huge pantry, it's actually right over here. But on one shelf is where I keep all of the ingredients that I use for baking. So my flours, my sugar, my chocolate, things like that. And then on my other shelf I keep all my savory items, so my lentils, my salts, my peppers, anything that my rices, anything that's used for savory dishes. And that makes it easier for me to know where to look for things. And I also, as you'll see in this picture, if it's a bunch of different flours, I will label them. Otherwise, it's pretty clear to see what they are. All right, these are turning pink on one side. So now what I'm gonna do is make sure they're all flipped over, because we're gonna start making our sauce. The lovely thing about shrimp, as you all know, is they cook very quickly. That is the beauty of a 30-minute meal. And as I started to cook this over and over and over again, you can cook it in 20 minutes and be done and sitting down. It's no problem. Okay, there we go. Flip, 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 flip. Get all the ones over. I think we got them all over. Whoop. Don't be afraid to get your hands right in there. Okay. And while they're doing their last cooking, we're going to reduce this wine down a little bit before we finish the sauce. So, whoop, I would add about 1/4 of a cup. We're going to bring it to boil. Okay. And those shrimp are going to continue to cook, so don't worry about that. This is ready to go. Put this back over here. Yummy. Okay. And because this angel hair pasta cooks so quickly, we're gonna wait until the very last minute to put in that water. Good, this is cooking nicely. So are the tomatoes. There we go. I like playing with my food. So that's part of the reason it's always good to wash our hands, but it's just fun to get your hands in there. Just don't burn them. Yeah. Okay, the wine is boiling. I'm going to turn to simmer and let it reduce about half. So I have, and you may have noticed I use rosé wine. Use rosé, use white wine, any wine that you like to drink. It doesn't have to be expensive. Just make sure it's wine that you like to drink, because that flavor is being reduced and intensified here. The alcohol is burning out, and you're going to taste that flavor even more. So make sure you like the wines, which means, hey, give it a taste. All right. And I have rosé on hand, so I'm using that. I love rosé in the summer, the late spring, early fall, but I often use, more often than not, we'll use white wine here. Okay. Usually a dry white wine, but it doesn't have to be. Again, it's what you like. And what's in the fridge. I actually have used a champagne before, or a sparkling wine before, because I had leftover champagne. I didn't want to let it go to waste. And I put it in this pasta dish, and it tasted wonderful. Okay, so this is about reduced down. Fantastic. Now, we're gonna add some lemon sauce. Just use your hand. Excuse me, not lemon sauce, lemon juice. I usually use 1 lemon, the same lemon that I pulled the zest from. Okay. Now I'm gonna add some butter. Okay. Oh, let's use all that butter. It's about a tablespoon of butter. Doesn't hurt to salt it a little bit more as you go through the process. Perfect timing. Now I'm going to use about a half pound. Again, I'm serving about 2 people here, or 1 person for 2 meals. Okay. There we go. Maybe a little bit more. Oh, this sauce is going to be so good. There's one more element we're going to add here. Look at that. The shrimp are perfectly pink. Oh, yeah. Okay, turn that down just a little bit and let it simmer. Perfect. We're going to add a little bit of pasta water to the sauce. Just about 2 tablespoons, 3 tablespoons worth. That is going to allow the sauce to thicken up even more. So when it gets done cooking, you'll be thinking, how did that sauce get so thick? It's the pasta water. This is great. This is good. So this is just on a very low heat. Just waiting for the pasta to be done. Good. Now, as I said, you can use any kind of pasta you have on hand. I really like angel hair pasta for this dish because it's like silk in the mouth, and it just is something extra special. So, okay. Yeah. Okay. So that's done. This is the last step. So, if you don't have tomatoes, you can easily just do this lettuce. I've used spinach before. Whatever lettuce you have, the spinach or arugula are great. They're going to wilt all the way down. That seems like a lot. You could probably put more in there. Put that in there. And as soon as this pasta goes on top of it, I'm telling you, game over, ready to sit down and bring the week to a close. No colander is needed. Might get a little messy on the stovetop. That's okay. Okay. All my burners are off. Everything's just settling down. Right. Keep that. The last piece. There's one more piece. It's my Parmesan. So the Parmesan is going to go right into the sauce. So I would put about 1/3 of a cup to a 1/2 cup. If you really like Parmesan, put a 1/2 cup. I like Parmesan. Okay. Because everything's warm, it's going to mix right in there really well. So here we go. Just toss. Get that lemon sauce, that wine butter lemon sauce mixed up all over the lettuce. That lettuce, as you're seeing, is already wilting down. See, it's already wilting down. It's like a great, colorful dish that's delicious. And all you did to make that sauce with aromatics, with the garlic and shallot, wine, butter, and lemon. That's it. Oh, I'm really excited about this. So scrumptious looking. All right, guys, let's eat. All right, let's eat. So this is, what, 20, maybe 30 minutes to make. And once you do make it, oh, you can sit down, you can relax. Oof, there's some great pasta there. And I gotta make sure I get some shrimp. And just take a deep breath. I think that is what this dish for me has done over the years. Is it just means the week's done, and I can relax, unwind, oops, and toast to the weekend. A little bit of rosé, some water. After all that hard work, and enjoy. Enjoy your day. Enjoy your food. Enjoy stepping into your kitchen. Bonne journée. Let's get a bite of crossing bear. Whoop. Get a little tomato in there. So good. So good. Welcome to the Simply Luxurious Kitchen, inspired by travels to France, as well as to other delicious excursions around the globe. While going about my everyday life in Bend. Join me as I share seasonal fare to elevate the everyday meal. And most importantly, discover how to enjoy stepping into your kitchen. Let's get started.